Hello and welcome to the highlights of the 2016 CRC World Championship. Round 5 of the championship took place at the thrilling Istanbul Park in Turkey to open the European season. With the very tricky turn 8 and variety of straights, this circuit presents a challenge for the drivers, with the obvious overtaking opportunity being the hairpin at turn 12, and with this circuit having produced many thrilling encounters in the past, there's plenty of anticipation ahead of this race. Qualifying saw Will Estley take his third pole position of the season, edging out his teammate Alex Moores by 0.02 of a second. Dork showed excellent pace during the practice sessions, and it looked like they could take the fight to Ignacy Rocha. However, Hannah Duran could only get within just under 0.3 of Alex Moores, and she lined up third, ahead of the two improved Masterforce cars of Dan Milliner and Matt Coombs. Traffic on her lap meant Chantal Hawke could only manage 6th, ahead of the two Baronassos, with Will Buchan leading Lucy Woodward. Jack Baldwin qualified 9th, whilst Rosie Driscoll also had traffic on her lap, resulting in her only qualifying 10th. Kieran Hardy qualified in 11th, ahead of the two upgraded Team Mossad by MAT cars of Abby Leggett and Matthew Tewson. The two D-Mads of Lucas Quintanilla and Dan Phillips qualified just behind in 14th and 50th respectively. Luke Julian qualified in 16th, ahead of the two Lockies of Chloe Carter and Kerry-Ann Peace. RTS had put hopes on an upgrade to this race, however the upgrade did not work as they'd hoped, as they could only manage 22nd and 24th, whilst Toby Jones would start at the back of the grid due to a back of grid penalty after causing numerous incidents at the Russian Grand Prix. To the race start, and both Ignacy Rochas got away equally. Going into turn 1, Alex Moores attempted to go round the outside but made contact with Estley, putting Moores into a spin. Baldwin also got caught up, and both drivers dropped down the order. There was more trouble going into turn 5 when Harvey Williams took too much curb and spun, forcing him out of the race. There was more trouble further ahead as Lucas Quintanilla managed to roll his car on the curb of turn 7, forcing him out as well. Due to all this action, the safety car was needed. When the safety car was deployed, the order ran as Estley, Duran, Coombs, Hawke, Buchan, O'Driscoll, Milliner, Leggett, Woodward and Hardy. When the safety car went in, the soft tyre shod Chantal Hawke was immediately on the attack, and she was able to pass first Matt Coombs and then her teammate Hannah Duran. Dork had been closer to Ignacy Rocha over the course of the weekend due to an upgraded engine. Of the soft tyres, she knew if she could make the strategy work, she could have a chance of the win. She was then able to pass Estley for the lead at turn 14. Meanwhile behind, a battle was brewing for third place, as Hannah Duran and Matt Coombs were in combat. The pair swapped positions on numerous occasions, with neither car able to get away from each other. However, Coombs eventually emerged in front. Towards the back end of the points, there was a lot of battling. Kieran Hardy had latched onto the back of Abby Leggett before he passed her at turn 12. Leggett's teammate Matthew Tewson would also find a way through, and immediately set about catching Hardy. However, on an attempt to pass, contact was made, sending Tewson into the barrier and into retirement. Abby Leggett would lose positions when she locked the rears at turn 12 and slid off the track, dropping her down to 13th behind both Lockies and Luke Julian in his CGP. However, it wouldn't take long for her to pass Luke's CGP. Meanwhile, Alex Moores was sizing his way through the field, making up position after position, and by lap 12 he was back in the points before he passed Kieran Hardy and then Lucy Woodward. Toby Jones, however, was struggling to make his way through the field and spun while trying to pass Dan Phillips, halting his progress. In the battle for 5th, Will Buchan was struggling on his hard tyres and was eventually passed first by Rosie O'Driscoll with a bold pass, and then Dan Milliner. Milliner would attempt to pass O'Driscoll for 5th, but would then have a slip through turn 7, which dropped him to 8th behind Alex Moores. On lap 16, race leader Chantal Hawke pitted for the first of 3 stops. 4 laps later saw the race leader pit. He rejoined behind the Dork racing driver. In the battle for 3rd, the undercut had worked for Hannah Duran, and she was now ahead of Matt Coombs by quite a distance. The same, however, could not be said for Rosie Driscoll, as she dropped to 8th after a bad pit stop. Having not pitted yet, the two hard tyre shod Baronassos were now running 3rd and 4th respectively. With both cars being held up, this brought the battle between Coombs and Duran back together, as Coombs was able to repass the Dork racing driver, before Duran would pass both Coombs and Woodward at once to move up to 4th. The same could not be said for Matt Coombs, as he was struggling to find a way past the Baronasso drivers. He eventually made the move, but by that time Duran had managed to pull out a reasonable gap back to the Masterforce driver. Both cars then passed the Baroness of Will Buchan without any issue. Meanwhile at the front, and as Chantal Hawke's second set of soft tyres were reaching the end of their life, Will Estley was gradually closing the gap to the Dort racing driver. Just as Estley caught up, Hawke made her move by pitting for a second stop, knowing she was going to have to do quite a lot of closing in order to win the race. However, she then struggled to lap the two RTSs, which lost her valuable time. Meanwhile, things were getting a lot worse for Elliot Everson, as he crashed on pit entrance, forcing him to retire. Things were also not going well for David Bland, as his engine gave up the ghost, forcing him out of the race. James Lang was also forced to retire when he spun at turn 12. From then on, the order was fairly static until the final round of stops, with the only change was that Rosie O'Driscoll was able to leapfrog Dan Milner for 5th as a result of traffic on the Master Force's in-lap. However, O'Driscoll's race would soon start to unravel as she collided with the Speedtech of Bex Howie at turn 7, dropping her to 9th. Rosie's race was then completely ruined less than a lap later when she collided with Phoebe O'Connor and lost her front wing when rejoining, forcing her to pit and dropping out of the points. On lap 46, Chantal Hawke pitted for her final stop, however a botched pit stop dropped her down behind Duran. Things would get a lot worse for her, however, when she spun at turn 7 and was collected by Tom Mungle, costing her front wing and forcing an unscheduled pit stop, dropping her down to 8th. As the race went on, the driver count continued to fall. Ben Blakemore's race would end when his engine failed. Louise Morrow's race would also come to a close when she spun at turn 1 on an attempt to unlap herself from Chloe Carter, forcing her out of the race. In the closing stages, there was some battles to be resolved. A bad pit stop for Matt Coombs had put him behind the hard-tyre-shod Will Buchan before he passed him at turn 17, third. Alex Morse then continued his fight back by passing first Dan Milner after a mistake from the Masterforce driver at turn 8, and then Will Buchan at turn 3. Having been last in the early stages, the Yanataroga driver was now up to 4th. Chantal Hawke was also fighting back after losing her front wing. On the faster tyre, she was able to charge as she passed Lucy Woodward for 7th as the Baronasso faltered at turn 8. However, when she tried to pass Daphne Milner's defence forced her to cut across turn 12. It wouldn't go unnoticed by the stewards as she was handed a 5-second penalty. However, this didn't stop her taking the fight to Will Buchan, as she then passed him with ease. Milner would eventually follow. Meanwhile, back at the front, completing another formidable performance, Will Estley once again crushed the opposition to take his 3rd win of the season, and to further extend his championship lead. Hannah Duran pulled off a fabulous drive to finish in 2nd despite having to fight for it from all angles, and rounding out the podium, Matt Coombs pulled off a good drive to take his Master Force's first podium in 2016 with a sublime drive to 3rd. Despite being left to rue losing many points in the championship, Alex Moores was pleased to minimise the loss and finish 4th. Chantal Hawke originally finished 5th, but fell less than a second short of extending the gap enough to prevent a time penalty dropping over to 6th. This meant Dan Milner was classified 5th, completing a good result for Masterforce. The two Baronesses of Will Buchan and Lucy Woodward felt they could have done better than 7th and 8th. Toby Jones was able to fight back to 9th with Kieran Hardy rounding out the top 10. Rosie Driscoll could only finish 11th after losing her front wing, completing a difficult race for Coombs GP. Abby Leggett was left to rue her mistake as she had spent much of the race stuck behind Chloe Carter, resulting in her finishing 12th. Chloe Carter finished 13th, ahead of Luke Julian 14th, while Jack Baldwin struggled to make his way through the field after the first lap incident, and could only manage a disappointing 15th. In the driver's standings, Will Estley had extended his lead in the championship to 40 points back to Hannah Duran, who had moved ahead of Alex Morse for 2nd in the standings, with the latter knowing he was going to need to put in some good results if he wanted to get back into the championship contention. The two Coombs GPs of Rosie Driscoll and Toby Jones lie in 4th and 5th, ahead of Chantal Hawke in 6th. Matt Coombs made huge gains and has moved up to 7th in the standings as a result of his 3rd place finish ahead of Dan Milner in 8th. Kieran Hardy's dropped to 9th in the standings just ahead of Lucy Woodward, who rounds out the top 10. In the constructor standings, Yanataroga still lead by a huge margin, whilst Jork can now move ahead of Coombs GP for 2nd in the standings. Masterforce have moved back up into 4th ahead of Gindana in 5th, whilst the good result of the Baronasses has ensured they have been able to close the gap to Gindana. After the race came the shock news that as a result of being unable to continue to use the DMAD name due to the management pulling out, the team have been forced to miss the remainder of the season as the technical reasons forbid a mid-season name change. It's not over for them, however, they will enter in 2017 under a new name. The season isn't over for Lucas Quintanilla, because he will do the remainder of the season at CGP Racing replacing Luke Julian. who will have to sit on the sidelines for the rest of the season, as Dan Phillips rounds out his CRC career. The next race will be the jewel of the CRC calendar, the Monaco Grand Prix, and you can watch that race live as it happens. You simply head to this YouTube channel on the 22nd of May and follow the links to the live broadcast. The times for the race, preceding sessions and support race streams will be confirmed on the CRC site at crcracing1.wix.com/official and the CRC Twitter at twitter.com/crcracing1 on the Wednesday before the race. Also, don't forget you can rate this race and vote for your driver of the day via the link in the description, and you can subscribe to this channel for more CRC streams and highlights videos, as well as the CRC site and Twitter for news and league information. We hope you enjoyed today's highlights video. We will see you next time for round 6 of the CRC World Championship of 2016.